Welcome to Pulp Kitchen, episode 3. I'm George.
I'm James.
This week we talk about Timothée Chalamet as Willy Wonka. We talk about Joker. Will there be a Joker 2? And we also play a pretty fun game called Blind Spotting, or rather, the greatest films you've never seen.
Embarrassing list of films.
Oh, shocking blind spots we've got in our knowledge.
Yeah.
See what you think.
George, buddy. Brilliant shirt.
I tried. We have a cacio e pepe.
Bless you.
It is the... Thank you.
Look at all that cheese.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
£8 for that.
Yeah, that's it. London, baby. Waitrose, baby.
It's the one that cures cancer.
Yeah.
Never mind. Yeah.
Cacio e pepe.
Say that again.
Cacio e pepe.
A cacio. So what are those words meaning?
Well,
pepper.
It was invented by John Cacio and Alan Pepe.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
No, it literally means cheese and pepper. But yeah, this is the dish of Rome. If you go to Rome, this is the dish you should get. And I think it's the only time it's appropriate to actually use the overused phrase, when in Rome.
Right.
Because people use it, just dish it out. But actually, when you're in Rome, you say, well, when in Rome, I really must have a cacio e pepe.
Okay, and this is like, it is a lot of cheese.
A lot of cheese. Pecorino, parmesan,
Yeah.
black pepper. You melt it into the butter, incorporate that with the starch you order from the pasta, mix it all together. As you saw, I was frantically stirring it through, trying to get it to come together.
So this is spaghettoni?
Spaghettoni.
Spaghettoni.
It's like spaghetti's beefier older cousin that plays for the rugby team.
Yeah.
You'll see it's like a lot thicker. You don't really want to use a thin pasta like a linguine or a spaghetti. You actually want something that's thicker with a bit more bite. You want something with a little texture on the outside of the pasta to grip onto the sauce. This holding sauce is what this dish is all about. When you actually eat it properly, in Italy, Rome, wherever, you'll get a pasta that's called picky, which is kind of like a lumpy udon noodle.
Oh, yeah.
Looks similar to that, but it's just got more texture and more goodness to it.
Wow, I mean, and I can say, looking at it, spaghettoni is like, it's like, hey, spaghetti, your cousin's here. Come play with spaghettoni. I don't want to play with spaghettoni. He always beats me up. For how
honest.
simple, no.
Yeah.
For how simple those ingredients are, you've really made something out of that, sir. I tip my hat to you. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not just saying this because we're on air. Like, if it wasn't good, I would tell you.
And we will be honest if something isn't good.
Yeah. Did you say you got attacked?
Yeah. I mentioned to you like 2 weeks ago that I got attacked and we got busy doing this show. Yeah. Where do I start? This was a classic case of James just really not reading the room. And you can picture.
That sounds like you, yep.
So it was a Tuesday morning, like 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was a rainy morning. It's Tuesday. Tuesday has no feel. It's Tuesday.
Yeah.
Grabbed a coffee, was going to go into London to go work on something in town. Got on the tube. This is like just after 8 o'clock in the morning.
Which line?
It was Northern Line going into
all important contextual
Thank
factors.
you, yeah. I'm looking, the trains come by, I pick my carriage, get on, and I realize that I'm in the long bit where there's 8 seats and 8 seats.
Yeah.
And I realize everyone's kind of very much heads down, even more so than usual. And this one man is standing and he's talking out to the people. And I initially take no notice. I've got my headphones in, listening to music, and everyone is avoiding eye contact with this man who's standing. You have a question?
Well, I was just going to ask, do you have much gear on you, or luggage, or because you're a filmmaker or a videographer? Like, do you
not today. Just
hands-free.
I had a laptop and some personal items
in a backpack. Yeah. This might sound irrelevant, but it's important for me to visualize this. I can see you now, stood up in the carriage. Go.
And I start hearing music that this guy is, and I realize he's performing music to the people. And I'm interested. I take my earbud out and I start listening. And this guy has a little speaker clipped to his belt, like the size of about that big, like two iPhones put together.
Okay.
And he's playing Stormzy beats and different rap music, and he's rapping along to it, and he's doing these little riffs, and he's commenting on what people are wearing.
Yeah,
and
I think I've had this guy. Do you know
this guy? I'm just going to check. You know this guy. Do you know this guy?
Wait. I've been on a tube with what you're describing. He had a red speaker. It was clipped on. It was like a Bose thing, but he came on the Hammersmith and City and Circle Line when I was.
Okay,
I've had
this
it twice.
is interesting. I'm going to tell you what happened before we confirm that it's this guy. So he's talking to people and he's giving out different bits of info based on what people are wearing, but no one's making eye contact. Everyone's very like, do not disturb me. And I've started listening to what he's saying, and from what I know about rap, he was really good. He was rhyming, he was flowing, and then he sees that I'm the only one looking at him, and he starts commenting on the guy with the brown hair, and I was wearing a blue coat. He's like, he's got his blue coat. He did it a lot better than I did. And I'm listening, and it's all very, very nice so far. And then it starts getting a bit aggressive and a bit nasty. And he starts talking about, so I have a pink phone case, right? Which he would thought that meant I was gay, because, you know, pink, gay, as if that's a thing, right?
Really?
So all of a sudden, the words you don't say about gay people start coming out about my phone, and he starts getting really angry and really heated, and he's coming towards me. And I just all of a sudden realize in my head, oh, this guy isn't a nice street performer. It's 8 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday. He's not been to sleep, and he's completely mental. And he's been screaming at people all down the line, getting really hyped up. And then so he would get really aggressive at me, then stop and get very distracted and move to someone else. But he kept coming back to me, to the point where he said in very different words, it was like, keep looking at me and I'll effing destroy you. Oh,
Jesus.
Insert X, Y, Z.
My God.
And I was like, oh my God. And he was like, he started like really getting in my face. Other people were like, stop. So I was like, okay, I need to just remove myself from the situation.
Yeah.
Got up without jumping up and just quietly got off at the next stop. He comes off the tube, follows me onto the platform, still screaming. He's like, what, are you running away from me? And I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't really realize the situation. Went back on the tube, doors closed, and he bangs on the door, screaming at me, and I was like, I am awake now.
Yeah, I don't need a coffee. Jesus.
But yeah, I thought lovely, humble performer happens to be up at 8 a.m. Turns out.
Now you think about it, it makes sense. Why would he be that early? Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, and then I looked and I saw he was really tired and haggard and he wasn't looking presentable. I was like, he's not been to bed.
Yeah.
And he's done this all
he
night.
needs a good night's kip.
He needs a good night's sleep.
Oh my God.
And me just humbly being like, rap, hip-hop, a street performer. How
look at this guy sing. Oh, no, the thing is that I think I have heard that guy.
Yeah, maybe he's famous.
And he did some good ones. And, you know, it was really good lines. But I guess that was probably 24 hours before he hadn't slept. Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that. It sounds like you were... It really wasn't attacked. It was accosted. You're accosted.
Confronted.
He
thought I was a corporate as well.
He should have given you a sticker at the end that said, welcome to London.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very New York kind of thing, I think, to happen.
Oh, yeah. Welcome.
Yeah. But I was interestingly profiled as like this corporate clocking in 9 to 5. Look
James.
at you.
How little he knew you.
Yeah. I was like, hey, man, I kick it with the rest of them.
I'm on my way to Goldman Sachs. Thank you very much.
Hey, I'm rock and roll.
I had some film news this week.
I love the news and film. It's so ridiculous. But yeah.
What, just like, what is news? It's just a statement of fact. Like,
yeah, it's just things that are coming out that we're going to
well, this is it. So I had no idea this film's coming out, but there's a upcoming Timothée Chalamet film. Okay, great. You know, I'm on board. I like the guy. Wait, don't say it. You're probably going to know it. It's the Willy Wonka prequel, right?
I did see.
Timothée Chalamet is playing Willy Wonka in a prequel about how he went on adventures and met the Oompa Loompas. Now, I'm going to take a big gamble here, James, but I don't think we need this film. I don't think anyone needed it. I don't think anyone asked for it. I mean, it is the
it's
most...
another Cruella.
Yeah, I mean, even though I enjoy Cruella, it still ultimately did... I was like, I don't think we needed this. It was a nice diversion, but like...
Who's directing it?
See, this is the controversial thing. I think it is Simon King is his name.
Okay.
I might have that wrong. Paddington and Paddington 2. So
great.
Wonderful. It might. Do you want me to just check his name?
Yeah, go for it. I slept on Paddingtons 1 and 2 for a long time before I was like, okay, I'll watch it. And when I did, it's one of those things, no matter how many times people say, oh, you gotta watch it. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure it's cute. And wow, it was really cute. Go watch Paddington 1 and 2. And 2's just as good as 1, if not better. We got verdict on Simon King.
Paul King. His name is Paul King. My apologies.
King, not
Simon
Simon.
King's probably his brother.
Great.
So Paul King, who directed Paddington 1 and 2, wonderful films. Lovely films. Really, just really full of heart and really great. And it will bring a tear of joy to your eye, especially Paddington 2.
Yeah, oh my God.
But
Uncle Pastuzo.
Oh, no. Aunt Lucy just wanted to come to London to see everyone.
And the pop-up book at the end.
The pop-up book and all the people
It's turning men into
and all the
shriveling
people are
worms.
downstairs. Oh my God. Love it, love it, love it. So Paul King is directing this. So on the one hand, Paul King, I like. On the other hand, do we really need this film? On the other hand, hey, Timothée Chalamet. I mean, look.
Do we know what we want until it's given to us?
That's the thing. Which, you know what? This brings me nicely onto a separate topic. Have you watched What If on Disney Plus?
No, but I hear you telling me about
okay,
it.
yeah, because so Marvel's What If is an animated series based on Marvel Cinematic Universe, which basically proposes what if this happened in this series of events instead of this? In another reality, if this person made this decision, so it,
What are the examples of some you've seen?
Well, first of all, it begins with Jeffrey Wright. You know Jeffrey Wright, right? You know Felix Leiter. Yeah. He has this wonderful voice, and the credits begin. It's like time, space, reality. It's more than a linear path.
That's a very good Jeffrey Wright.
I am the watcher, and ponder with me the question: what if? And that's how it begins. And you're like, okay, it's like Saturday morning cartoon films.
Yeah.
Okay, so for example, the things that go is, what if it was Captain Carter, not Captain America? So Peggy Carter goes in the machine instead of Steve Rogers. Or what if instead of picking up Peter Quill, the Ravagers accidentally picked up T'Challa. And those aren't the most exciting ones. There's one where it's just like, what if... I can't remember the character's name, but Janet Van Dyne, Michelle Pfeiffer's character, was in the quantum realm. She picked up a quantum virus that turned her into a zombie, and there's a massive zombie outbreak.
It's kind of like if you let a load of stoner uni students into the Disney studios and just put them in a writing room and let them just come up with a whole lot of stuff and go, yes.
Yeah, I literally had no interest in watching this. And this is always the thing with Marvel. I always go into everything with like half interest. But I always leave being like, I really like that. I want season 2. Like, how the hell do they do it?
They reel you back in every time.
And it's such low-hanging fruit. It's like, you know what? We're not ever going to film it. We're going to take all those stories just kind of tweak them, see where we can go with them for half an hour. And some of them end really abruptly because they kind of go, and then I guess that would happen and that's the end. But damn it, James, they're really enjoyable. Really? And they're not... You start watching them thinking they're standalone, and then they all start to connect.
Damn
they
them
do
for
it.
that.
And I'd say there's a really good one about Ultron. God, I'm such a nerd.
Really?
But I started to get research. I got to the point where I was like, I need to watch
There's a
What
really
If.
good one about Ultron.
And
they never fleshed out his character, but I finally get fulfilled now.
Yeah, that's literally that. God, they really reeled me in. So I don't know if we needed that. And it seems like the most cynical exercise to be like, we're going to recycle these stories that back to you. But damn it, James, they got me.
I'm going to save that for a Saturday morning cartoon. I want to sit in front of my TV with my legs crossed, like looking up at the TV and watch it when I'm maybe hungover and I need some comfort food.
You want someone to come in and be like, breakfast is ready. No, in a minute.
Yeah, I ended up thinking a lot about, because I saw an article about how Todd Phillips was in discussions about potentially coming back to do Joker 2. Right. And it got me thinking a lot about that film again. Right. And my initial reaction was, please don't, because I quite like that at the moment Joker sits on the sidelines as the weird cousin of the DC movies that's a bit indie and a bit off. If someone said Joker 2 to you, does that... Like, would you want another one? Again, talking about things that we didn't ask for but might get. Because remember, before you go in, it made a load of money.
Oh, it's like an inevitable. Yeah, it made money. I think the correct term is a shit ton.
Yeah,
of
and as R-rated as the Americans would say. But
I mean, I think to answer that question, I should probably say what I think about Joker 1, as people will say it is now.
For anyone who doesn't know, Joker 1, directed by Todd Phillips,
I'm sure, yeah.
Also directed the Hangover movie.
Yes, it was a real breakaway. Kind of came out of nowhere. This completely different vision for this character. Had nothing to do with all this other world building that DC was trying to do. Joaquin Phoenix played Joker. It was set in the 70s. It was heavily Scorsese influenced, and Joaquin Phoenix did an incredible performance and won an Oscar for it. And I think a lot of people wouldn't have missed it.
I remember everyone started hearing about it from the festival buzz, and all the previews that everyone had seen of it, and it was like, oh no, Joker's legit, gotta see it. That's for me when I saw the trailer and I was like, but then it was the awards buzz, and then by the time it came out in cinema, everyone was like,
there was mad hype. But I tell you what, I think I had the opposite. I saw like the initial film stills and stuff, and I thought this is really interesting. The Todd Phillips thing kind of was a big question mark because I was like, it's not like I've seen promise in his early work. I think, oh, this makes sense for him to finally get his chance. I thought, is there really good stuff with Todd Phillips there? And I say, my thing with Joker is like I admire the fact that they took the initiative to go and make something completely out of sync with everything else, and to have this vision, to have this idea. But my issue is that the whole film is so deliberate, has such a deliberate point to it. It's like, okay, we're not going to be related to other films. We're going to set it in the 70s. It's going to be very Scorsese influence.
It really isn't related to anything DC has been doing, which is rare right now.
But there's something really emphatic about the film, like, we are doing this. And my issue with the film was like, what's the point? You've done this, but for what end? I really still don't think that film knows quite what it was trying to say. And I really think Joaquin Phoenix's performance is almost like on its own. He turned up and thought, oh my God, I'm going to do this really great thing with this. And he did. And Todd Phillips let it. And then Todd Phillips tried to construct this film around him. And if you heard Todd Phillips on the awards circuit talking about that film, it kind of changed every so often. At one point he said, oh, it's actually a film about compassion. And I was like, there is not a single iota of compassion in that film. Like, I'm not saying it's terrible. I'm just saying that, like, when you've gone to the effort of making something so clearly envisaged and so deliberate and emphatic, I just thought, to what end? What were you trying to say there? You've got my attention, but what were you trying to say? I think there was a review by David Ehrlich of IndieWire, and I think he said something like, Joker has nothing more to say than draw attention to itself. And I really couldn't get that out of my head. I don't think it's terrible. When it came out, people said, oh, it's so polarized. Some people love it, some people hate it. I'm like, well, no, I am kind of in the middle, because I recognize there are some potential here, some good things there, but I ultimately don't think it was trying to say anything.
This exact point that you're making is my favorite thing about the movie, because people can go in talking about excellent performances and the fact that the film works in terms of giving you something to say about it and it's well made. But I love that so many people can agree that it's good but still hate it, or have a really bad reaction to it, and that's okay. Because watching Joker, I think, made me really remember that it's really hard to watch a film in a vacuum and to not take it as a product of the time that it was released. Yeah. And in so many ways, like, as you said, it is really emphatic, and it is trying to say so little but also say so much at the same time. Anyway, it takes the main character of the Joker, and as well as shaking its head at who he is and what he says and the events that transpire, it also glorifies him. So you definitely get, seeing that film, you take in a load of your own baggage with you, and you come out of it with an impression. And I love seeing the difference. I've heard your reaction on the film, and I've had friends who've seen it who have a different reaction, and some people who just adore it for everything that it is. My favorite part about it is it is a reflection on who you are going in to watch it.
Well, like a Rorschach test. It's like a film version of a Rorschach test. You know what? Fair enough.
It is uncomfortable to watch.
I take that point, but I still it almost irritates me at how, like, shallow some of its observations are. So it courts with things like, rich poor divide, like sort of like revolutionary feeling and like discontent, and all those things are legitimate things to talk about. But I really don't think there's anything interesting to say about those things other than just like show it. Like, and then I think the way that it like brings violence into the narrative, and the way it frames the Joker as the Joker becomes increasingly violent, I still don't. But
again, like, and you're not wrong, but there are people who look at the political situation, not just from before that movie, but even since, what people can take as an idea and commit acts of violence based on something so simple and horrible. Again, would affect a lot of people going into that film, which is what makes it so interesting.
It is interesting that this is a part of a wider point about when that film came out. A lot of the discussion was about its place within the wider sort of cultural conversation and the culture wars. Like, is this actually a rallying cry for incels, or is this actually like a liberal nightmare? Yeah. And it's like, you know what? I don't engage with any of that stuff, because ultimately I'm more concerned in the actual meat of the film, the actual substance of the film. It's a bit like food. That's why we had like the food analogy comes in handy, like with this podcast, because when I don't care if what I'm being served is really popular or has this heritage or has this, that is all just nice embellishment. It's just all window dressing for the fact that what I'm about to eat. What am I getting from that? And I don't get.
So maybe the better response is not that the film is really good, but the reaction to the film is what's really good.
The reaction to the film, yeah. I don't think Todd Phillips intended to make a film that had provoked necessarily that reaction. I think he was surprised that he's sort of created this genie in a bottle kind of thing.
It's like an old Darren Brown special on Channel 4. Did you get stuck to the sofa or did you not?
I didn't. Neither did he predict the lottery.
They do that thing where even Arthur, who's in so many ways an irredeemable character, he'll say things that we could all agree with. He'll be like, everyone's always just shouting at each other.
Yeah.
It's so uncivilized, which everyone could be like, oh, that is such a reflection on our social media and everyone's just so loud and screaming. But it'll hook you in and you can see what it's doing.
Yeah, it's a bit heavy-handed.
And you're like, well, I wouldn't do that.
You know what? You're right. I think that it's heavy-handed, but I guess it makes its points clumsily, messily, but maybe they are there. But to answer your question
about
Joker 2, how do I feel about that? I guess I'll have to see. Again, it's like I don't really want another one. I don't really need another one.
It's
where can that character go from there, though?
He becomes.
I thought he was all in the hospital at the end.
Yeah.
The film couldn't make up it. That sums up my point. The film couldn't make up its mind. It's like, oh, maybe this will be. Do you know what I thought? Do you know what would have been my preferred ending for Joker? Because they hint at the very beginning that he's in the hospital, and then they show that one clip of him banging his head against the window.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I would have loved it if it would have cut like it does at the end of the film to him laughing in the hospital with a cigarette with the psychiatrist. Right?
Yeah.
So in the actual film, it then cuts to him walking out the corridor, and it's clear that he's murdered the. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Spoilers for Joker, but it's been out 2 years.
I think if you care, you would have seen it.
I think yeah. And he walks down the corridor and you think he's killed the psychiatrist. I would have had it. It cuts to him laughing with a cigarette in the hospital and the psychiatrist is looking at him like, what the fuck? And on the table in front of him is just a spread of Batman comics.
Yeah.
And you realise the whole film has not been about the Joker at all.
You'd have to cut the Thomas Wayne bit out, but
yeah. Okay. No, because it's like this has all been in his head, and this is a joke.
Sure,
and the whole joke of the film is on the audience, and it's like the director saying, "You thought this whole thing was an origin story of the Joker? No. This is a fantasist dream who has been absorbed by all these Batman comics." I thought that would have been like a coup de grace. Like what a joke! Make the whole film like have this punchline at the end.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say for a second that I could have made a better film.
No. I see what you mean.
But
your point on leaning on an idea and not just putting a load of stuff out there and hoping it sticks for someone.
100%, James. Let's wait and see then for Joker 2.
This weekend, I am going. Love the cinemas are back. I'm going to see the new Ridley Scott.
They've been back a while. We just haven't been.
We just haven't.
Yeah.
Well, it's sad because there's not very many films which are big enough to brave it in the cinema. You have to be James Bond or a Marvel film to really make it right now. Anyway, this Saturday I'm going to see the new Ridley Scott film with
The Last Duel.
With Adam Driver, Matt Damon, Jodie Comer, and I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know if it's good at all. I've not read a review.
I think I've had mixed things. I think it's got potential. It's the first script that Matt Damon and Ben Affleck have written together since Good Will Hunting.
What? I did not know that.
Yeah, and it's told. Do you mind if I tell you a little bit how it's structured?
I know the gist of it.
No, but it's not the story. But the fact that it's going to be told from multiple different perspectives.
I did hear that.
And it's going to cut back because it's obviously about a trial and a case.
Did you ever see Vantage Point with Matthew Fox and
Dennis
Quaid?
Dennis Quaid. Yeah. God, I love that.
I did that like 14 times.
I saw that on a plane and I loved it.
Oh, great plane movie.
Another
movie. List we should have of like good plane movies. Must do for the edit. Write that down. I want actors that are good in everything, which isn't just good actors. I want to have the actors that you can say, love them, good in everything.
That sounds great. Keep that camera rolling.
And then I want good plane movies because I believe plane movies are a genre.
They are.
Thank you.
So The Last Duel. Yeah, I'd probably be up for seeing it. The thing is though, Ridley Scott is a bit of a mixed bag. He's one of those guys. He's a bit like the British Clint Eastwood in that he will just keep going and making films, and he doesn't make films that are like necessarily interesting anymore. They're quite workman-like, solid, safe pair of hands.
It can be stuffy Ridley Scott period.
I mean, did you ever see All the Money in the World? You know, the one he had to reshoot.
No, I didn't.
That was messy. Not because of the way they reshot it. That was actually bizarrely like
quite
seamless,
clean. Really.
Yeah. But I found that really clunkily way of telling a story. But everyone was just like, Ridley Scott, true story. And I don't know about this. You know
what's a forgotten film of his? Kingdom of Heaven, starring Orlando Bloom, which was like a huge tip to be the next. I think I must have seen it on Sky like as a kid ages ago. But it was like his Gladiator follow up.
Yeah.
Well, cast Orlando Bloom, who at the time was like the hot fantasy ticket.
Okay. Do you have the kind of TV that when you turn it on, you got smart TV, obviously. I know it's right.
Currently,
it's right behind
smart
me.
TV,
and it has the apps
Yes, it's got a series of apps.
Yeah, and one of them, well, at least in the Samsung TV I have at home, it says free movies. There's a whole channel, right?
And it always defaults to it constantly.
And Kingdom of Heaven is one of the free movies on there.
Yes.
No, sometimes they have good films on there. Honestly, sometimes they do. But Kingdom of Heaven is one of those
Really?
examples. I'm just like, oh yeah, it's the kind of. You know what other films I think would be on there? Cold Mountain, and
Beautiful Mind.
salmon fishing in the Yemen. Yeah. And Water for Elephants.
That
Those
is
films that are just forgotten, not bad, not good, just amber.
You know when HMV used to be a thing and you'd see the bargain bin of
yeah.
DVDs?
Yeah.
That is what that is now for
Yeah.
the digital era. It's
Yeah.
the bargain bin.
Yeah.
The sort of free movie with 14 ad breaks in a 2-hour film.
Yeah.
You know how they pay
you know
for
what? I was having a conversation with a friend the other day about Matt Damon and how he is. Last week I talked about the word solid.
Yes.
And I think Matt Damon is the definition of a solid actor.
Yeah.
He is pretty much good in everything. I think you can always lean on him to deliver. And,
Yeah.
I think he's got much more. I talked to you a lot recently about Talented Mr. Ripley.
Yes.
That was just such a revelation with that film. I really, really enjoyed that
fantastic.
again. And there's so many layers to Matt Damon in that. He does such a good performance. So anyway, The Last Duel, yeah. Matt Damon and Adam Driver, who I think we talked about this, but I think he's like the best actor of his generation.
We love Adam Driver.
He moves and breathes and does everything completely differently.
He without overacting, he expresses so much.
Yeah.
His face is almost like.
Yeah.
But in any other actor, it would look ridiculous. But with Adam
Yeah.
Driver, does something really over the top. It just works.
But it kind of reminds me of like that Jack Nicholson thing. Like Adam Driver could walk in this room right now, sit down on the sofa, and it would be compelling.
Yes.
Like we talked about last week,
Kramer
the
walking
Kramer
in the
being
room.
funny. But there's something inherently dramatic and captivating about. And he is a character actor he's got a character actor's face in a leading man's body.
Yeah.
You know.
Jamie Foxx said that about when he did Django with Christoph Waltz. He said he learned so much from him because he was talking. This was like an actors on actors thing with like 7 of them around, and he was saying there's a moment where Christoph Waltz just needed to sit down, open his notebook, write something, forget something, and put it back. And he was just watching him going, this is just meant to be a shot of him getting out a pen and writing something, but I'm obsessed and I can't stop watching it. I was like, that's the genius of Christoph Waltz. He can make something as boring as getting a pen and paper out from his book and making it the most fascinating thing ever.
Yeah.
And it's like, we talked about this before, but cleaning the pipe in Inglourious Bastards opening scene, like that, or writing the notes.
Little details. I also think that about like Michael Shannon.
Yeah.
If he looked at you, Michael Shannon would be Agent Shepshire.
Why are you going to do that?
I will find him, Cora. Where's the codex?
It's more like, I will find him.
Man of Steel, for anyone who
Man of
wasn't
Steel,
referencing.
yeah. Unfortunately, that was going to come up for Michael Shannon. He's done so many great
I know, so many stuff, but he's got that slight, in Knives Out. Papa, you trying to fire me?
He's excellent in Revolutionary Road, if you've seen Revolutionary Road. He's so good in that.
I haven't, which is quite interesting, James.
It is.
Because brings us on to our next segment. B-roll. Should we play a game?
Yep.
Let's do it. All right. You know what I thought would be interesting? It's our third episode. People might want to get to know us a little bit. And what is a good way of getting to know someone, or very character revealing, than not talking about what films you've seen, but what films you haven't seen? What are the blind spots? What are the omissions in your film knowledge? So I call this game blind spotting.
The pile of shame of lists.
Yeah, the pile of shame. So here's how it's going to work, James. So I asked James earlier today to think of really famous films, notable films that he has not seen. And I was going to do the same. And okay, James, I'm going to get mine up on here as well.
Yeah, I've just got mine up in the order I want to.
And here's how it's going to work, okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to count down from 3. 3, 2, 1. And then we're going to say at the same time the films we haven't seen, okay? And we'll just see where it takes us.
This reminds me of you ever, like when you played a game with a sibling where you had to make the stupidest face to make the other one laugh, but this is just going to be a film we weirdly haven't seen. And no judgment here. There's a lot of films out there, and sometimes we all just miss them.
Why do I feel like after we finish playing this game, I'm going to look at you differently?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, what? You haven't seen?
Oh my God.
Okay, ready?
All right, so I'm going to count to the countdown.
Is it on 3, 2, 1, go, or 3,
It's
2,
3,
1?
2, 1, and then we
film.
say it, okay? Right? Okay.
Ready?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready, baby.
3, 2, 1, Rocky.
Top Gun. Rocky's on my list.
Oh,
Rocky's on my list.
Okay, so neither of us have seen Rocky.
Okay, so let's start with Rocky because Rocky's on my list.
Okay.
I'm glad I've got a spare one.
So you haven't seen it?
I haven't seen Rocky.
I've seen it.
I've seen like a lot of Rocky 4. I can't even tell you what one it was. One of the
Dolph Lundgren?
It could have been Rocky Balboa, is what it was called.
Oh no, 2008.
Again with the year. It could have been Rocky Balboa just on TV, but I've not seen
No.
the original Rocky.
Me neither.
I understand its place in pop culture. I've seen many of the most iconic scenes.
Pretty sure I know what happens.
I'm pretty sure I know what happens. I know the characters. I've watched the Creed films and I've got the reference. Yeah,
I get that reference.
Not seen it.
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
No,
I love that.
I've seen Creed. And I enjoyed
seen
Creed.
Creeds 1 and 2.
Because I enjoyed Creed because I knew enough about Rocky. Yeah, he climbs the steps, he
get it.
punches the air. Adrian, Apollo Creed.
People who love Rocky are like, you are reducing it to its cliches.
Yeah. But I also don't feel like I need to go back because also whenever I've said to people, go see, I haven't seen Rocky, they go, huh? Rocky.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Rocky. That's a thing.
There's no sense of urgency to watch it. Like when you no, that's unfair. I was gonna say like when you said you hadn't seen Quantum of Solace, which is a much worse film.
Yeah, come on,
But
give me a break.
as in, there's no sense of urgency to go out and see it.
No, and also like, is it really going to be that compelling as a boxing film in today's age? That's why Creed was so good because it was like, oh, it's made like with the modern age.
What are you gonna get from watching Rocky tomorrow that you've really missed out on? Is that really bad?
I think you would. It'd be nice to see what Sylvester Stallone's face used to look like. And if he could talk any better.
Yeah, before I kind of beat it up.
That's mad. But you know what's funny? I haven't seen Top Gun. That should be on
you
my,
haven't seen Top Gun.
I've got to put it on my list, but I haven't seen either. But I'm really excited to see Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, it's a new one coming out.
Again-
And that's why I was thinking I should really see it. It's kind of my little horrible secret I have to myself. People like new Top Gun. I'm like, well, I haven't seen
But that's the thing.
first one.
Yeah, I know enough. Like Jets, Goose, Wingman.
I've seen so many.
all that stuff.
I've seen the iconic volleyball scene, which is the most homoerotic
wow,
thing
yeah,
ever.
that's-
You got if you.
Because Quentin Tarantino had that whole thing about how it's all homoerotic and
It's the most homoerotic thing
Yeah.
you've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's all shot in slow motion. Sweat. There were like 5 people working that day just piping the sweat on the bodies, and they're all like,
Tom Cruise needs more sweat.
there's shots of them being like, yeah, high fives, and it goes on forever.
Yeah.
It's like I get it. They're playing volleyball.
Directed
No,
by?
I've still not seen the film. Oh, it's not Zemeckis, is it?
No, it's Tony Scott.
Tony Scott.
So we're just talking about Ridley Scott. So Tony Scott directed
Tony
it.
Scott.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but Maverick looks like, like it's got that modern Mission Impossible edge. The
Yeah.
camera's mounted on the plane.
What are the stakes in Top Gun? What's the
In the original one,
conflict?
I think it's something Cold War-y.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume there's again Top Gun fans
We
are just
haven't
like
seen
that's
it."
not the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be China. This one.
I think it's Russia.
Yeah.
Just generic Russia in those days. Like
Spy planes,
Rocky IV
surveillance.
Russia. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Isn't that great? We both exchanged ones that
we need to
hadn't
get our
seen
act together
straight
for when
away.
these films come out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you ever see Creed 2?
Yeah, saw Creed 2.
Was that like?
It was fine, not as good as Creed 1.
Yeah, I feel like that kind of came and went.
Still
Creed
good.
2.
The problem with Creed 2 is Creed 1, which I thought was really good, ended on such a high, and they really earned the win at the end.
Yeah, spoiler.
Yeah, well, he's going to overcome that.
It's a boxing movie. Yeah.
It really earned that win, and it came from such a high, and then it had to do it all over again. And it's like, okay, so this is going to happen every time, because I already felt like you had such a great win in the first
Yeah.
one. Are we just going to do that again?
All right. Round 2. Ready?
Round 2.
Okay.
Okay, ready? This is relevant.
3, 2, 1. The
Willy
Notebook.
Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the original with Gene.
You're
Wilder.
joking.
And the Notebook. Yeah, I remember you saying the Notebook the other day. I've not seen the.
All right, let's do Notebook first.
Okay, so the Notebook. I mean, yeah, it started the Nicholas Sparks era of films that you had follow-ups with Channing Tatum and Zac Efron, but. Yeah, that's the OG.
I know, and I'm not saying I want to say it because it's a cornerstone of cinema, but I'm just aware. It's just, again, it's pop culture. It's such a thing, but it's been like it had its moment, then it had the backlash moment when everyone hated it, and then it's like gone back and people love it again, then people hate it again.
Yeah.
It's gone through the full cycle.
I've not seen it since its era, so I can't tell you if it has aged well.
Okay, I don't
you know
think
what
it
I
has.
mean?
Isn't there a bit where he like swings? And
Is it like cheesy and contrived?
I think his like obsessive romanticism is a little bit stalky.
Silly, yeah.
It's a little bit like, mate,
built a house for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mate, I didn't ask you to.
Oh, do you know about that plot point?
Is
he
that-
like spends years building a house for them to live in and all of that.
Does he tell her beforehand? Or is it like a
He like-
surprise?
Okay, I've not seen it in years. He builds their dream house after she's meant to
You've
marry.
got-
This.
yeah.
It's the classic poor
Ja-
guy, rich girl.
I have a feeling I'm never going to watch this film.
It's like, oh.
Hey,
So
you know
I
what?
grew up in a house with 2 older sisters who, of the era of the Notebook, was
Yeah.
right up the street.
So
So I was never not going to have seen
Yeah.
it.
We will take votes though. If people really want us to go watch one of these films,
And come back.
Then fine. If you really want me to go watch The Notebook, you have to put it in the comments, and I'll go watch The Notebook.
If this video gets 100 likes, George has to watch The Notebook.
yeah, done. What was your one?
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate
Oh
Factory.
my
Which
God.
was relevant, and I was trying not to make a face because it was on my list of films I haven't seen.
I rewatched that at Christmas
Really?
last year, and what I loved about that film, because I saw that loads when I was a kid. I don't know how you missed that when you were a kid.
It's a real hang my head in shame.
First of all, it's so much wittier, visually witty, and like script-wise witty than watching it as an adult. So
Really,
first of all, it's all filmed in like Munich or Bavaria, and so it's got these kind of really kind of, but it's not set in Germany. It's just got that kind of like fairy tale feel to it. Okay.
Yeah.
And the color of it, like the actual quality of the film and the way the color pops, like this, it's literally like a candy-colored view of the world, right?
See what you did there.
And thank you. But there's also, when they're having like the golden ticket hunt, it's so funny. There are these really funny non sequiturs about everyone, how desperate everyone is for like a golden ticket.
Yeah.
There's one about a woman whose husband's in a hostage crisis, and she has like, it's something involves the golden ticket, and it's really funny. And I was like, I did not pick up on that. And there's a bit when they when they go through the factory, so you must be aware of like there is no way of knowing.
Yeah, and like the memes and just all of it.
It is so much fun. And there's a bit where the
Well,
parents,
I know the songs, but I've not seen it.
the parents are in this corridor, and like Gene Wilder is doing his magnificent performance as Willy Wonka. You really have to see it.
I should see it before the Chalamet.
Yeah, of course. And he plays a little tune on the recorder, and this mom this mom from like Middle America just goes, right man and half. And the other guy's like, yeah, what? And also,
good.
that's where the Willy Wonka thing comes from. With the good day to you, sir. You lose. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Of course. But which comes to
You know
the
what? In fairness, in my defense, it obviously is a film that people reference a lot, but people don't watch it often in the way that people watch
It
films.
was on though, James, when we were
on,
young.
yeah, but
Channel 5, Channel 4,
man.
mid of the afternoon, Sundays. Like, you've seen Chitty
Willy
Chitty
Wonka.
Bang Bang?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Oh,
I know, yeah.
how
You
do
think Ben Knobson, Broomstick, Sound of Music, I've seen all of them, yeah. Why would I not have? It's in that category.
And well done for calling it Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, because
Not
that's what
just-
the film is called.
Yeah.
But the story, of course, is called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Obviously read the Roald Dahl book as a kid.
Did you see the Tim Burton one?
Yeah, I've seen the Tim Burton one. Yeah, because that came out...
In your lifetime.
What year did it come out?
2005, I believe.
Yeah, so it would have been about the time you take a kid to go see that film.
That and Along Came Polly.
It was like 2005, you were taken to see films. You didn't really choose the film.
Oh, no. I really... My parents...
You were like, can I please go see...
I took my mum to see The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which is a woeful film, and Van Helsing.
Oh my God,
I know.
Van Helsing.
Van Helsing is so green and grey.
It's like dark. It's like blue. And
Yeah,
the color temp is just way down.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed it as a kid. But my poor mum.
I
was
remember
thinking,
enjoying
this is
Van
very
Helsing as a kid. What did I know? Yeah.
It was because it had vampires, werewolves, Frankenstein, Dracula, the Wolfman, again,
Transylvania, all of
undead
that.
people. Yeah, and it was
Yeah.
just, and he had a fucking machine gun
I
crossbow.
bet that ages so badly.
I'm sorry.
I bet that ages really badly, that movie. If
Oh,
you sat down
God.
today and watched that.
Maybe
so much
James,
worse.
there's something we have to do. Okay.
We should do like a tier where we have to like live stream react to really bad films that haven't aged or something.
All right, that's a good idea. Right, next one. Ready?
Hold on, what's my next one?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to tease mine ahead of time.
This is another big one from me.
Mine is topical for the time of year that it is.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I think it was time of year is it? What year?
Ready?
Ready?
3, 2, 1. The Exorcist.
Dirty Dancing. Oh, The Exorcist.
Oh,
wow.
yeah, okay.
Well, okay, so let's start with The Exorcist. So I'm not in a place to
real head spinner.
I'm not in a place to really go after you because I don't know The Exorcist well. I saw it far too young
Oh God, that
and don't remember it well
explains
at
so
all.
much.
And I definitely watched it like that with like my fingers through. So it was. I think I was definitely on a sleepover. In a
James
very
just
loud
put his
environment.
hands
Yeah.
in front of his eyes like a child, but peeking through like, I want to watch it, but it looks scary.
Yeah, so I have seen it, but I really don't. Sorry, I don't know it well to be referencing
Right.
it to you.
Okay.
But fantastic movie. that you should see.
I know. It's not only revered as like a cornerstone of horror cinema, of Western horror cinema. Mark Kermode's favorite film,
It is.
famously. I know. But I'm not good with horror films.
Right.
But I'm not saying I'm not going to watch it. I'm building up to it, and I have been doing that for years.
And I'd love to rewatch it and probably take it all in for its genius because I don't remember.
Do you know
it
I've been
at all.
like microdosing scary films over the past few years to try and get myself ready for something like The Exorcist. Because my dad watched that when he was like 20 in the 70s, and he was petrified. Like, he couldn't sleep because that's how I was in those days. And
that's why you never saw it. You're like, what are you putting on TV?
So I was watching lots of like horror films building up to it, and then this was a couple of years ago, and then we watched Hereditary, and I hadn't microdosed enough, James. I hadn't microdosed enough.
Hereditary is
that film honestly disturbed me and made me feel.
You see Midsummer as well.
Wait, yeah, but hang on. But Hereditary, it didn't just affect me in the moment, but like for a week, I was feeling really strange. And it took my girlfriend to be like, "You're not right this week," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's because that is so dark, that film." Midsummer isn't really scary, and it's quite silly. So I don't.
It's very silly.
I don't think of it in the same way.
You don't forget that movie. The same way you don't forget Hereditary. You're not.
I've filed Midsummer away.
I have images of Hereditary burned.
Oh, Hereditary? No.
So sorry. Images of Midsummer burned into my brain. Did you see Florence Pugh on TikTok? I know you're not on TikTok. She was dressing up for a costume party, and she opens a drawer, and it's the May Queen dress, and she basically shows herself getting ready in this like really deranged face. Puts on the costume from the thing, puts on the flowery crown. She's like, the perfect costume. I'll send it to you because it's brilliant.
Oh my God.
But she's obviously got the costume of her as the May Queen, which is
okay,
brilliant.
but anyway, get back to The Exorcist. So I haven't seen it for that reason. So like I was never going to watch it at home at that age. And but I believe I'm scheduled to see it with some friends this year because it's October, it's Halloween time, and that is the big one. I've seen Carrie. I've kicked off all the other big ones.
You could be there in your
Halloween.
turtleneck,
I've seen that
in your long cigarette holder, taking it in. Be like, well,
part of me hopes that like it won't scare me now because it's nearly 50 years. It's 50 years old next year. I think it's 1972 that came out. Jesus, but we'll see. But I'll let you know how I get on with it.
Film being old does not stop it from being scary.
It makes it scary.
Have you seen clips of Nosferatu?
Oh yeah, for the 20s.
Yeah, like one of like
when the door. Oh, the show.
One of the first films, like straight up. That is horrifying in a way that's really simple and dark.
But horror is simple.
Yeah,
that's the whole point. That's why Midsummer isn't. It's too complicated, too silly. I mean, Hereditary gets quite complicated, but that's why I love It Follows. We talked about this before. We're a film we both love. It takes such a simple concept. Horror is best when it takes something really, really simple, even mundane and ordinary, and makes it disturbing. So in Nosferatu, it's really old footage, and it's him like walking down a corridor.
And I've not seen it. I remember. I think at uni I'd watched the 10-minute clips of the scariest
Nosferatu
moments.
the vampire.
Yeah, it's really. It's just so dark. Also, not the best one, but Bram Stoker's Dracula with.
Oh yeah, I've only seen the Simpsons episode that it references it.
Yeah, with what's his name?
It's Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman, thank you. Gary Oldman as Dracula and Keanu Reeves
doing an English accent.
Oh, it's one of the worst acting performances.
I do love
ever.
Keanu as well.
I remember in English A level we were studying Gothic. We were doing like Picture of Dorian Gray, and he wanted to put the film in. He had to like preface it by warning about Keanu Reeves' performance in the film. He's like, I promise you, this is a good film worth watching, but this is the performance.
So
that Keanu
you watched
Reeves
Dracula because you were studying Picture of Dorian Gray?
Yeah, we were studying like the Gothic genre. It was
of course.
So we were doing.
Was that AQA or OCR?
Ooh,
that is an A-level reference for those.
There's points now. They don't even get letters.
I'm so old.
Yeah. We're talking about like it's our O levels.
No, yeah. Okay, but Dirty Dancing. You know what? Okay,
and Talia is turning in her seat. She's not dead. I was going to say turning in her grave.
But I actually quite like Dirty Dancing because on the face of it, I thought it would be quite thin, quite trashy, a bit like a Notebook. But actually, that film is a lot of fun. I think it's quite different. It's quite strange. It came out in the 80s, but it's set in the 60s, but the soundtrack is quite 80s. I love her character in it. And again...
And I should watch it. It should be watched.
Yeah, and that film is... it's a lot smarter than it looks. She has a really funny line. I don't want to say it because I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's a really funny line that's like... a really good movie line on its own. And I often think about it, I'm like, that is such a good line. People know it's when they turns to the party. But why haven't you seen it? The Lift.
Just not. Again, like I you know what? I blame my older sisters for this one. In the same way that they showed me The Notebook, they should have shown me Dirty Dancing.
Yeah.
Because they introduced me to a lot of crap films sometimes. Like, I was never going to avoid The Princess Diaries 2.
Hey, I'm sure that has its fans.
I'm sure. And A Cinderella Story with Hilary Duff,
has its fans
right?
as well,
and Jennifer Coolidge as the evil stepmom.
Oh, God.
I need you to go clean. you can't go to the ball. But yeah, I really should have seen Dirty Dancing.
Well, I'm kind of glad you.
And I've seen it a lot from Family Guy too.
I'm glad you didn't see it at that age because you probably would have rejected it.
Yeah,
I think if
as
you
a
enjoy it now,
younger
you'll
boy.
probably enjoy it. You know, for what it is, and I think it is. It's better than it looks. People write it off actually, but I like Dirty Dancing.
It came up in Secret Cinema a couple of years ago,
James,
and I was like, oh god, I've still not seen
I'm booked to see it.
Oh, you're booked.
It's been cancelled twice. We booked that in December 2019, and now
wow.
it's scheduled to go ahead in July 2022. I don't think I care anymore.
Yeah.
I like Dirty Dancing,
You're a
but
different person.
so we've got a fair amount of films that
That was
James that we might need to
interesting.
sink our teeth into.
I think we should definitely add more or reveal more of our films that are on
Yeah.
our pile of shame of things we just haven't seen.
And you know what? We're going to make a mission. We will try and see some of those films and
when there's
feedback.
a good time to do it, I definitely want to go and watch.
What
them.
is the most famous film you haven't seen? What's your most famous blind spot?
Yeah. Oh my god. Tell us what the film. No shame.
No shame. No
Everyone
judgment.
just think, look,
I won't call you
I
out.
know this film's
Brian.
good. We walked so you could run. Tell us the films you haven't
Yeah.
seen that you really should have.
God, am I going to have to watch Van Helsing again?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so flat and
Van Helsing,
CGI.
Van
Oh
Helsing.
my God. And it's got the guy in it who was in every film in that. Richard Roxburgh, he's Australian. He was
Yes.
in Moulin Rouge and Mission
300.
Impossible 2.
Oh no, sorry.
No, you're thinking of the guy who played Faramir. I'm thinking
Yeah,
of Richard
Faramir.
Roxburgh. He's the guy in Moulin Rouge. He's the bad guy
I know
who
who you mean.
talks like that.
know
You know,
who you
even though it's
mean.
like set in France. That's a wild film.